Before I begin, I want to give 2 warnings, one for spoilers. If you want to play Bad Parenting for yourself, you can on Steam or itch.io. My other warning is for dark topics such as child abuse. If that's not something that you're comfortable with in a video, this may not be the video for you. With that out of the way, let's begin. Bad Parenting is an indie game by 2002. It takes roughly 30 minutes to complete and plays through the journey of a 4 to 5-year-old boy. I'm going to quickly run through the events of the game in case you've never played it. If you don't need a refresher, feel free to skip ahead to the analysis. Timestamps are in the description. The game begins with a conversation between the boy and his mom. She's home late again from work. This time is especially bad though, because it's the boy's birthday, and she doesn't have a present for him. She makes up a lie that Mr. Redface will deliver a present to him while he's sleeping. The boy's dad interrupts to tell him that it's a lie, and begins making accusatory questions to his wife. Clearly from the conversation, this is not a healthy household. You run off as told though, and during the night, as promised, Mr. Redface delivers a doll that looks exactly like you. His head is slightly off-center, but that doesn't matter, because he's a magic talking doll. He wants you to open the closet to get some toys to play with, but you're not strong enough to open the closet, so instead, he tells you to go get some food. In the fridge is your favorite meal, spaghetti and meatballs. At the very least, his mom loves him, which is good. You microwave the meal and sit down for a meal with your doll. The doll can do more than just talk. It can make the spaghetti regenerate, and can drink alcohol. The bottle breaks, which stresses out the kid, and his dad will be angry. The doll informs him that he doesn't need to worry, since his dad has been taken away because his dad is a bad person who hits him. But this isn't comforting to the kid, as despite his father's flaws, he still loves him like any young kid would. He begs for the doll to return him. In order to go get his father, he must place his dad's radio in front of his parents' closet and open a portal. When he arrives, he must talk to a cat secretary. He asks for his dad, and the cat reiterates the same point that the doll did, that his dad is bad, but adds something new, that his dad is not really special, and that there are many parents that are bad. More on this later. Before he can go see his dad, he is spooked by 3 kids hanging out in the room, but he doesn't have time to play with them. He's dead set on finding his dad. He opens the door to reveal his dad in an all-white room, shivering and repeating the same line. "Please stop punishing me." The kid is unable to convince his dad to come back with him, but he finds a card on the table. He then wakes up in his parents' closet, with his mom standing above him, her head contorting itself before she begins asking him if he's okay. She reveals that he hasn't been taking his medicine, and he's been having dreams and telling her about the doll. She tells him to go to bed, but when he does, he's flashed with visions of Mr. Redface and falls to the floor. She promises to take time off work and take care of him, to which he is delighted. But the promise is quickly broken as he wakes up alone. He wanders to his room to find the doll beaten up. The doll's master did it, and the doll also reveals that his mom has been taken as well. The kid then shows the doll the card he took from his dad's room. The doll tells him that it's the key to defeating Mr. Redface, and so the kid heads through the portal to the scene from earlier. He tosses the card into a room and hides behind a car with the other kids, while Mr. Redface walks over. Walking back through the portal, the doll is smoking, his magic fading. He tells the kid to go see his parents, which we are seemingly returned to the conversation at the start of the game. The kid's dad accuses the mom of cheating on him. While she insists that she's just been working late to support the family, she also points out that it doesn't matter, because he's a deadbeat who just sits and drinks, so he's much worse than her regardless. He hits her. She gives him an ultimatum. They will divorce, and either he needs to leave or she will take her son and leave. His mom runs out, and his dad drinks at the table with the same motions as the doll showed earlier. He walks over to the kid's room, where the kid finally finds out what's been going on. His dad is Mr. Redface, and his dad killed him. The doll reveals that this is the true fate of him that night, and the journey that we have been on is him trying to make him realize this. Your mom finds your body in the closet, and it's revealed that you've been hidden for 14 days. Next, his mom is with the police, when the card we threw into the room earlier turns out to be a motel card that leads to the whereabouts of your dad. We cut to a funeral scene where your dad has been arrested, and you lie resting. And finally, you join the other kids in that room from before. This game is about bad parenting, duh. The plot showcases a pretty horrible extreme of bad parenting, killing your own kid, but I don't think that is the point of the game. The real meat of the game comes from the elements in the background. Remember that comment from the cat secretary about the kid's dad not being special? All the other kids that the kid hangs out with were also killed by their parents. One stuffed in the trunk of a car, one buried, one burnt, and now one hidden in the closet. But even more than that, there are a lot of parents who don't kill their kids, but can still be considered very bad. The dad's final action of killing him was horrible, but it's not like he was being treated well before that. The kid lives in a very low-income household, subsisting entirely off of his mom's income, who likely doesn't earn much per hour, as she needs to work long hours to make ends meet. Their house, or more likely apartment, is small, only having 4 rooms. 2 bedrooms, a bathroom, and a general kitchen dining room area. His dad is a deadbeat who doesn't work. He just drinks, gets angry, and hits his son. The kid is neglected because his dad doesn't pay much attention to him, and his mom is always out of the house. He's a 4 to 5-year-old who only eats reheated pasta. If you look around the house, his room is bare, no toys or activities, just a TV. This kid wasn't doing good in general, way before any of the killing happened. It has been shown in research that kids need to engage with a stimulating and loving environment in order to develop into healthy adults. Emotionally neglected kids tend to instead be more preoccupied with finding connections with their parents. And emotionally abused kids tend to be more preoccupied with not making their parents upset. So whose fault is it? I'm not sure that we can entirely blame any one thing. It's a terrible thing to leave your kid alone all day, but the mom doesn't really have a choice. She needs to work, or the family won't be able to survive. It's not like she chooses to never see him. Neglect can be an economic necessity. Or is it? Obviously, most of the bad things that happen are the fault of the dad. He delivered the killing blow, he hit the kid and his mom, and sat at home drinking all day. It is entirely likely that if his dad was able to work, even a minimum wage job similar to the mom would have to work half as much, allowing her to see him and spend time with him. The dad could and should also have done some of the parenting himself, but it's obvious that something is wrong with the dad mentally. Alcohol dependence is often a sign of need to quell the pain. It can be a self-worsening cycle. Of course, we could make the assumption that the dad is like Russian or something, but more often than not, even if you control for genetic factors, alcohol is the sign of suffering. This is not to excuse the dad's horrible actions, but to point out that it's not like people usually become evil for no reason. Abuse is a cycle. Maybe the dad's dad also beat him. We'll never know for sure though. In my opinion, the most definitive answer is that society is to blame. There is no reason that these 2 people should have been married in the first place. Whatever societal pressures that led to this dysfunctional union should have been stopped. And there's no reason that they should have had a kid together. Every kid deserves a parent, but not every parent deserves to have kids. From the extreme poverty to the mental illness, it is clear that this household had no room for a kid. Maybe they intended to have a kid and things went south afterwards, or much more likely, there was a lack of proper sex education and contraceptives involved. In a more perfect world, the dad would have been a loner who never got married, or maybe found some way to deal with his mental issues, either through rehab or plain old therapy. This household wouldn't have existed, and perhaps, if his mom wanted to have kids, she would have done so later in life, with a more stable position where she could be a little more present. There's also the angle that even in the current timeline, there should have been more action from society. It has long been said that it takes a village to raise a kid. A lack of presence from wider family and community also leave parents stranded to deal with raising a kid on their own. This is true for even not bad parents. The TV in the room, despite the poverty, indicates that the TV was bought to provide something to occupy the kid's time. If this doesn't remind you of something, take a look at whatever you're watching this on. Screen time isn't brain lobotomizingly bad in small quantities, but especially for kids, it can be detrimental. According to the latest statistics, 42% of kids have a phone by age 10. I don't know about you, but when I was 10, I was playing with Legos, and the most technologically advanced thing I could do was play Plants vs. Zombies on the family computer. Although 10 isn't that bad, what's really bad is the parents who give their kids phones and access to scrolling on social media when they're like 3 to 4 years old. Just because neglect isn't as obvious as leaving a kid in an empty room with a TV all day, it's still pretty bad. In the end, bad parenting is everyone's fault, some more than others, of course. It is important to remember that for most of human history, we have existed as communities and networks of family. There must be proper support from both inside the house and the wider community. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to like and subscribe. I'll be releasing videos like this about games that I love every Saturday, so stay tuned.